Hi there everyone and welcome to this week's live stream GuitarQuest lesson. This week we will be continuing where we left off with GuitarQuest 4, so reviewing some power chord ideas primarily and then pushing on, hopefully getting on to the subject of playing notes in the 7th position. So something new to tackle today. But before we do, just a couple of things to think about. So if you're watching this live stream, then best to turn all devices off that have notifications pinging away, just so you get your dedicated half an hour's guitar time. If there's any children watching, then I'd suggest have an adult in the room just to help explain things. And don't forget we've got the chat function, so if you've got any questions then please do fire away and I will do my best to answer as we work our way through. So that's the housekeeping out of the way, and let's have a go at tuning up. So we'll continue tuning by ear. So this is our bottom E string, so you want to make sure you're in tune with that. And then to tune the A, we're going to go to the 6th string 5th fret. We assume that's the correct note. We play the open 5th string and then we adjust the 5th string until it sounds the same as the 6th if needed. Once we're happy with that, we'd go to the 5th string at the 5th fret. That's our note D. That's the next one we're going to be tuning. So when we play the open 4th string, compare it to the note on the 5th at the 5th fret. Does it sound the same? If not, just adjust it until they do. Then once you're happy, we're going for G. So we play the 4th string 5th fret. That's the correct note. So then you compare your open 3rd string to it. Oh, maybe it's a bit low. And then just adjust it until you're happy with it. And then once you are, we're going to go for a B, which is 3rd string 4th fret. So we play that one. Compare the open 2nd string to it, and then we adjust that if needed. And then again, once you're happy with that, last one, 2nd string 5th fret, that's your E. So you play that, compare your 1st string to it, and then once you're happy with them, then the guitar should be in tune. And to check it, we're just going to strum a few chords. So let's start with the G. And remember, any chords we play today are going to be really obvious ones, so they should sound quite pleasant. If anything sounds a bit discordant or anything like that, then double check your tuning or left hand fingers. Okay, what about a D? Should sound like that. And then an F, remember you got that little barring bit down here, so the first 2 strings. Okay, and then we're going to finish off with a C. And then we're going to get into our arpeggio practice. So we've been talking about this over the last few weeks. Now last week we talked about playing the C over G. So the theory is we're going to play the root note, which in this case is C on the 5th string. And then we play strings 1, 2 and 3. And then we're going to play the 6th string. And then play strings 1, 2 and 3. So we've got this kind of idea. Okay, and then when we go to the next chord, which is going to be E minor, we're going to do the same kind of thing. We make our E minor shape, but this time our thumb's going to move from the 6th to the 5th strings. So our other fingers do exactly the same. So strings 6, 1, 2, 3, then 5, 1, 2, 3, 6, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to go to a G. Now we haven't talked about G before. So we make the G chord shape. And for the purposes of how we're playing this today, I'd recommend you go with the 3-finger G. You can go with the 4-finger G if you prefer. It's perhaps a little bit harder. So try that one. And this one, like E minor, we're going to go string 6 to begin with. That's our root note. Then strings 1, 2 and 3. And then the 5th string. And then we go back and play it again. And then we're going to play a D chord. And this is the same as we played before. So D. We make our D chord shape, and then we're going to start on the 4th string and go to the 5th. And then we're going to put them together. And when we play the D chord, on the last run, we're going to just, so imagine it's 2 bars, we're going to go 1, 2, 1, and then the second time, we're just going to hit that open 5th string rather than doing the extra 3 notes, just so it gives us time to get back to the C over G. So if you feel comfortable, you can fill that space in and just jump straight to the chord. Whatever works for you. But I'm going to leave the space today just because I think C over G, we've talked about it a little bit, but not a lot. So it's probably a slightly newer, slightly more challenging chord shape. So, okay, so just to demonstrate, we're going to start on the C. I'll go through it a little bit quicker. So I'm going to go to E minor. I'm going to go to G. And then D. We'll just hit that bass note and then back round. So let's try it again together. So good luck, and yeah, we'll see how you get on. Okay, so 3 and 4 and to E minor. And G. And then D. We're going to hit the 5th string and back to C over G. E minor. Then G. Note, we're going to go back round, but a little bit faster. And then E minor. Then G. And D. And then just hit the 5th string. And then you could go back round again. We're not going to worry about that. Now, just as a little aside, what you could also do is play the same kind of alternating bass notes, but rather than doing strings 1, 2 and 3, just do a down up with your index finger. Maybe so down up there, and then you do the 2nd bass note, and then just down strum. So you get this kind of sorry, I went to the wrong chord there. But anyway, that's the idea. So we'll give it a go, just nice and slow. So you play, in the case of C, 5th string, down, up, 6th string, down. And play it again. Then we go to E minor, you do the 6th string, down, up, 5th string, down. Then do it again. And G, 6th string, down, up, 5th string, down. And then we go to D, you do G twice there. And then D, play the 4th string, down, up, 5th string, down. And then on the 2nd bar of G, we do the 4th string, down, up, and then just the 5th string, like we did before, and then that gives us time to change back into that C over G. So, this is quite similar to exercise 24 in the book, so it's just kind of building on that really. So, and a bit of an extra thing to have a go at. So, all right, let's try it together then. So after 4, so 3, 4. To E minor, 6th string, 5th, 6th, 5th. To G, 6th string, 5th. And then D, 4th string. Play the 5th there, and then you can go back to the C over G. And then when you're feeling comfortable with that, what you can then do is start combining them. So, for example, you could do this kind of. You start with your arpeggios. And then switch to the strumming. So on. So, and what I did there as well, rather than just going bass note, down, up, other bass note, down, I just filled that space in. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. I went 1, 2, 3, and 4, and in places, and so you can just kind of vary it. The key thing is that you land on beat 1 with the next chord each time. So as long as you do that and you're hitting the bass notes in the right place, how you choose to strum in between is kind of open to your to whatever you want to do, really. Whatever you think sounds good. I remember, like, when you're playing music, if it sounds right, then it is right. So that's, use that as a fundamental rule for anything that you do with your playing, and you won't go too far wrong. So okay, right, that's our I mean, more than a warm-up, really. We've played around with that for a little bit. Hopefully it's a bit of fun anyway. So we're going to go onto our power chord ideas. So we talked about this over the last couple of weeks. So if you turn to page 16 and 17 in the book, we just run over a couple of the ideas. So we've got power chord shapes, or fifth chords, as they're also known, with root on the 6th string. We'll start at the 5th fret. So you play 6th string 5th fret, 5th string 7th, and then you can add the 4th string 7th as well if you want. And you play those 3 strings. If the root note is on the 5th string, it's the same shape, but you shift all your fingers 1 string to the floor. So in this case, it'd be 5th string 5th fret, 4th string 7th, and 3rd string 7th if you want. Remember, you've got that option. You don't have to play the pinky finger if you find it too much, but it's a good one to practice if you can, because of where future chords are likely to take you. So being comfortable with that is definitely something to aim for. Okay, so there are 2 shapes. Then we have our root notes on the 6th string. So you've got, obviously, E is our open string, then F at the 1st, G at the 3rd, A at the 5th, B at the 7th, C at the 8th, D at the 10th, and then when you get back to E, the 12th fret, sorry, that's an E. So you could play that chord up there, but obviously that's quite high. It could happen, but you probably wouldn't. So if you were playing the root notes on the 5th string, you've got the open A, B at the 2nd fret, C at the 3rd, D at the 5th, E at the 7th, F at the 8th, G at the 10th, and then A again at the 12th. And again, you probably wouldn't play that chord. It could crop up, but it's so high, you're losing the kind of the depth and the power from it, hence you're probably playing A down here. Incidentally, this E chord here, or this E5, if you're on the 6th string at the 12th fret, is the same as 5th string at the 7th. So that E there, that E there are the same. So it'd be far more likely, if you needed to play a slightly higher E5 or E power chord, that you come to the 5th string 7th fret as your root note. And then you can also include the open 6th string, and you get that little bit extra depth. And that is quite a common idea, so that's something worth playing around with. Any E chord that you might end up playing around here, you can include that bottom E string. Now, we haven't played those other ones that I just played or demonstrated, but it just gives you an idea that E is almost like a bit of a special one, because you can include that bottom string when you're playing other variations on an E chord at times. So hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, the other thing just we touched on lightly last week, just to run over again, would be this idea of tones and semitones. So every fret on the guitar is a semitone. And in terms of like music theory, there's a tone between every note apart from B and C and E and F. So if you know that, you can work things out. So for example, if we start on an E to F is one of the special ones. So that's the one where we only go up 1 fret, it's like adjacent frets. Then F to G, that's not a special one, so that's a tone, so 2 frets. Then G to A, again, it's a tone. A to B is a tone. B to C was our other special case, so that's the one which is a semitone, so that would be in adjacent frets, so 7th to 8th. And then C to D, that's a tone again, and D to E is a tone. So if you know that logic, you can work out the fretboards. But obviously, our goal, your goal as a guitarist, I would say, and one of the goals of what we've been doing in this entire GuitarQuest course, is to learn the fretboard. And we're learning to read music and so on. And by doing so, we're learning the fretboard. So hopefully, you don't then have to start working things out. You just know where the notes are. I think that's a really important goal that everybody should aim for, but I do appreciate that is not necessarily high on everyone's agenda. So if you need to work it out, that is fine. But the more kind of natural you can be with like just knowing where the notes are, then the better you're going to be, and the quicker you'll be able to, if someone puts a chord chart in front of you, for example, you'll be able to play it rather than having to figure it out first. So at least that's the idea. So moving on from the theory of power chords then, let's have a go at exercise 25. That's on page 18 of GuitarQuest 4. Now, this one is just using power chords. I'll talk you through it. We went through it in a fair amount of detail last week, so I'm not going to spend loads of time on it today. But we're going to start on that E5 with the root on the 5th string. So when we talk about, say it's the 7th fret, I'm referring to the index finger, like that's our root note of our chord. So it'll be 5th string, 7th, and then the other two just sort of drop down in place. In this case, with the 9th fret. So that's our chord. So we're going to start. We play that, and then 3 bottom E strings. Then we're going to come down to D5. Note the Roman numerals, they're guiding you all the way. So 5th fret, so we just slide down 2 frets. We've got our bottom E again. Then we come back to the 7th. Then when we come to the 10th, which is our G, we're going to do 2 quicker strums. And then down to the F sharp at the 9th fret. So that first bar then, okay, and then the second bar starts off the same. Then we get the semiquaver rest, so it's for and. So remember, when we're breaking a beat down into 4 into quarters, we can count it in this case like 4 and. And so in this instance, we don't play on beat 4, but we play on the and. So it's 4 and we don't play on the last as well. So again, let's demonstrate. So the second bar, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4 and. Okay, and that's frets 10 and 9 on the 5th string. Okay, then as we come on to bar 3, which is the third line, we're going to play a B5, so that's our 7th fret. With root note now on the 6th string, and then we're going to come down to the 5th fret, still with the root on the 6th string, back to the 7th fret, we're going to jump to the 10th fret, so all these root notes still on the 6th string, and we've got that semiquaver rest, so it's 3 and 4. Okay, so that bars 3 and 4 then, we've got down to the 5th fret, up to the 7th, up to the 10th, and then we go back, play the first 2 bars again, and then eventually come down to the coda. So, as I say, we went over this in quite a bit of detail last week, so that's almost like a bit of a crash course on it, but we're going to try and play it together now. Now, obviously, you've had a week to practice it. So, let's see how we go. So after 4, okay, so 3, 4. Sorry, I've got to get my counting right. Okay, so after 4, so 3 and 4 and. Up to the 10th. Wrong, sorry. I'm going to slow it down a little bit as well. I felt like that was a bit fast. Okay, so again, so 3 and 4 and. Up to the 10th. Same kind of thing again. Down to the 5th. Up to the 7th. I'm going to repeat. To the 10th, to the 6th string, down to the 5th, up to the 7th, and the 10th, E5 chord just to round it all off. Okay, cool. So if you managed to play along, then very well done. Do give yourself a pat on the back. It's a different kind of a challenge to a lot of what we've played otherwise. But if, for example, if you like acoustic music and you decide, actually, I want to try and do some acoustic grades and that kind of thing, then power chords are going to be really important to you. If you're more of a classical player, probably not. They might crop up in some of the early-ish grades in a kind of attempt to appeal to the kind of the more acoustic-minded players that are perhaps doing classical grades anyway. But yeah, if you're playing electric guitar, definitely something that will come up as well. So if that's your bag, then definitely something you want to know. Cool. I just see a question there. Do you do lessons every day? No, I don't. It's once a week, but they're all saved on my YouTube channel. So if you want to learn, then please do go and check them out. This is lesson 90. So there's plenty of material there. Split into 4 books. So yeah, work your way through them, and hopefully you'll get to this point one day and all will be good. So cool. All right. What we're going to do now is talk about notes in the 7th position. So we, over the last few weeks, have practiced the A natural minor scale. So it's just a slight kind of step back. And when we played it in the 5th position, this is, a lot of the notes we played ended up at the 7th and the 8th frets. So when we go to the 7th position, we can use the kind of the tail end of the A natural minor scale that we played as almost like a starting point for our notes in the 7th position. Now we're going to have one new note, as page 19 shows, and that is the note D. That's the 1st string 10th fret. Otherwise, all the other notes are going to be notes that we've learnt already, but repeated. So for example, the notes we're going to look at are starting on the B, 5th string 2nd fret. Then we get up to here and then eventually there. Now, we're not going to play it like that. We're going to come, and I'll talk you through it now. So B, C and D are going to be frets 7, 8 and 10 on the 6th string. Then when we go to the 5th string, we're going to go E, then F at the 8th fret, and G at the 10th. So you've got frets 7, 8, 10, 7, 8 and 10. Then when we go to the 4th string, we're going to go A at the 7th, B at the 9th, C at the 10th. And the 3rd string, same frets again, 7th, 9th and 10th. So D at the 7th, E at the 9th, F at the 10th. So again, these are all notes like D, E, F. Notes we've learnt down here, we're just playing them in a different position. I do know that makes it quite hard though, so do bear with me or ask questions. Sorry if you're finding it difficult. Okay, so far then we've got frets 7, 8, 10, 7, 8, 10, 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, 10. Then when we get to the 2nd string, it's just frets 8 and 10. So G at the 8th fret, A at the 10th, and then when we come to the 1st string, it's going to mirror the 6th string. Both 1st and 6th strings are the notes E. So whatever you play on the 6th string is going to be the same on the 1st. So we played 7, 8, 10. So same again here. So B at the 7th fret, C at the 8th, and D at the 10th. Okay, so those are our notes. I'll just play them again. I'll just say them out loud, just take them nice and slow. I'll count in so you can play along if you want. Okay, so 3, 4. So we've got B, C, D, then E, F, G, A, B at the 9th, C at the 10th, D, E, F, G at the 8th fret, A at the 10th, B at the 7th, C at the 8th, and D at the 10th. Okay, so they're all the notes in that position. And you could sort of argue that's a bit of a scale, but it'd be not one that we're going to talk about really. However, exercise 26 is the scale of C major, and it's basically what we just played, but ignored the 1st note and the last note and the high note. So the first note's B. We want to start on a C, so we're going to start at the 8th fret, and then we're going to stop when we get to the first string 8th. So again, if I just demonstrate, we're going to go C to D, then E, F, G, then A to B, then C, then D to E to F, G, A, then B, and then C, and then we're going to come straight back down. So B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Okay, so in the same way that hopefully you learnt the notes in the 5th position, this is now guiding us through the notes, or most of the notes, in the 7th position. So it's really good practice to say those note names out loud, just to kind of reinforce what's going on. You may find you're fine with it on the way up, but coming back down, you know, we don't know the alphabet backwards very well usually. So yeah, it's a bit harder. But actually, if you know the notes and think about it in the terms of the notes rather than trying to count the alphabet backwards, it actually becomes all right. But I do appreciate it's a lot easier said than done, and I've been doing this for a lot of years, so it's fairly straightforward for me. But it just takes time and practice, so do persevere with it. Now, in terms of exercise 26, there is backing track for it. It is just that scale, so I'm not going to play it today for you. You can check it out on my YouTube channel. There's a playlist just for GuitarQuest 4 backing tracks. So go to that one, look at exercise 26. But the thing I just want to finish off with today is this other way of looking at how to play scales. And this is a really common thing that you'll come across if you look up any scales online. And it's like a chord box shape. Except you don't play with a chord box shape. You play all your fingers at the same time. With a scale box shape like this, you just play them all one after the other. So if I bring the music up onto the screen, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. So this scale here that we just played can be written graphically here. So this is a picture of the fretboard. Imagine, well, this is fret 10 towards fret 7. So our strings are coming down the screen here and the frets going across the page. So you would start on the 6th string at the 8th fret with your 2nd finger, and then go to the 10th fret with the 4th finger. So the numbers inside the dots there, they're telling you which finger on your fretting hand to use. So 2nd to 4th there. Then you come onto the 5th string and you play all the notes on the 5th string. So 7th fret, 8th fret, 10th. Then on the 4th string, 7th, 9th, 10th. 3rd string, same again, 7, 9, 10. Then frets 8 and 10 on the 2nd string, and then finally just frets 7 and 8 on the 1st string. So it's a very common idea to show how to play scales in that kind of manner. Partly because you don't really need any music theory. You can just look at it and just play it. Like, again, once you're comfortable with it, as in reading it. So again, for someone like myself who's played for a lot of years, I could look at something like that and probably play it without too much, well, certainly that one I'd play without too much bother. Even scales I've never seen before, I'd be able to get to grips with it pretty quickly looking at that. You know, if it was all notation, it was a very strange scale, it might take a little bit longer. So it does have a great benefit. And like I say, if you look up, for example, scales books, you may well see sort of fretboard graphics like that. You might see those more commonly than actually the notation, or tab as well would be the other thing. We haven't really spoken a lot about tab. We've done it a little bit. When we get into GuitarQuest 5, we will be focusing more on tab, so we'll get into it then. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. So you've got two different ways of playing that same C major scale, and what you want to do really is think of it as like, okay, that's a shape. So that graphic there is a shape to play a major scale. It's a 2-octave major scale. So and there's no open strings in it. So what it means is that if this is C, actually actually we could come down to the 5th fret, do the same sort of combination of frets and that, and that's now an A major scale. If you come down to the 3rd fret, that's a G major scale. So you can move it around as you need to, really. So so learning the shape, almost like you learn a chord shape, is it's just going to be very, very beneficial, particularly if you want to get into improvising and that sort of thing. So anyway, that is a good place for us to finish up today. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for everybody who's tuned in, obviously. So things for us to practice ready for next week. So we'll keep going with our arpeggio warm-ups. Well, I forgot to do it today, but the notes for the 5th position, that A natural minor scale, which is exercise 19. So I'll try and remember to do that next week. And then we'll probably play exercise 25 again, because I know, you know, that kind of power chord shape is a different idea to stuff we've done before. So it'd be worth revisiting that at least for one more week. Then we'll be getting back onto this C major scale and the notes in the 7th position. So hopefully that makes sense. Hope it's plenty to be getting on with. If you enjoyed the lesson, please do give it a thumbs up, and tell anybody else you think who might be interested in the lessons. Just let them know about it. All the old lessons are available, so just go and check those out. They've all got backing tracks. So yeah, it's there's plenty there to keep you busy anyway. So cool. And I just, sorry, one other question I've just noticed, saying I'm a beginner, any tips? I'm an acoustic, but I'm trying to learn fingerstyle. Okay, so my suggestion would be to check out all the old videos. So we started with GuitarQuest 1, and that was just absolute beginner stuff, with a focus on learning to read music as well. And then we work through from GuitarQuest 1. We're currently on GuitarQuest 4, so as you can imagine, it just gets more complex as we work through. And for people that have been following the course, you know, hopefully they feel like they have made progress, you know, and that's always the key thing. So that would be my suggestion. Check out the old videos, and you know, if you've got any questions, you can always ask in the comment section underneath. So, and I'll do my best to get back to you. But yeah, I will leave it there for today. So very best of luck. Oh, one other quick reminder, because it's almost kind of summer break time. So we're going to do one more lesson next week, and then we're going to take a few weeks off over the summer, give you all a chance to kind of catch up with anything that you found difficult. But yeah, we'll be back same time next week, last one before summer break. And yeah, we'll see where we end up. So very best luck with practice. Have a brilliant weekend, and I will see you soon. All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.